Hey everybody. So I'm at home. I'm in my laboratory. When I'm at home, I'm a mad scientist, but when I'm on the road, I'm a truck driver. Or at least that's the way I think it goes. But a friend of mine, I posted a video on my Facebook page, and a friend of mine was like, and it was a model railroad video of a train that I put together. And I'm going to show that to you guys now so you know what we're talking about. So I made a thing and just wanted to share it. Check it out. So it's got sound, DCC, goes forward, you hear it idle up, goes backwards. There you go, okay. And there's a bell and the whistle. Okay, but lights are the thing that I have trouble with. So here's the headlight. You can see it on right there. And then the Santa Fe Alco PA's had a gyro light. So it has the gyro light. There's a gyro light by itself. See, it lights up the track. And then when you put it in reverse, it's supposed to turn red. And I got the red light in, and it looks great. So I'm impressed with myself. Okay, so that video, I put it up, and a friend started asking questions about he was like, did you put Alexa in it? Because it sounds like you're giving it commands. And I said, no, I didn't put Alexa in it. I was using a computer program, and I've got a couple of friends that they had asked what scale it is, what this is, what that is. So I thought what I would do real quick is I would make a video for them talking about what I'm doing, because they seem to have an interest in it, and I would like to pass it on if they've got an interest in it. So I thought I would make a video for them, and since I'm making a video for them, I thought I would make a video for my YouTube channel. Just put it out there. Anyway, so let's get started. What do I need? I need something. Hold on. One of the questions that one of my friends had was, what scale is that? And the scale, I told him it was HO scale. And I felt like I'm trying to get this just right for like lighting and everything, so that you guys aren't having to like stare back at anything. Anyway, he asked me what scale I was working in, and I told him I was working in HO scale. I don't know if he knows the difference between HO scale and O scale and G scale and all that stuff. But I figured I would tell him. So, or I'd put it out there, and I would put it in the video. So, first and foremost, this is O scale, okay, or specifically O27 scale. This locomotive was built by a company called Marx back in the 1950s. Okay, I have a whole Marx Santa Fe set that I put up around the Christmas tree every year, and this is one of those engines. So that's O scale, and then for comparison, this is HO scale. So to compare them side by side, here's O scale and here's HO scale. Okay, HO scale, the reason it's called HO, or so the rumor goes, is that it's half of O. So, as you can see, if I put these two up, here's O scale, and here's HO scale. Go lay down. Here's O scale, and here's HO scale, okay? And there, you can see it's about half size. It's not half length, but it's certainly half, like, if you compare it like this, it's about half. So, the reason that these two are a little bit different is this one's not to scale. This one's not prototypically to scale. It's just a toy. And it was meant to be sold to children and go around the Christmas tree. And yes, it is an electric train. You can see it runs off a third rail. That's something we can get into later. Right now is not the time. This is HO scale. And this is a PA, and it's supposed to be somewhat prototypical or almost prototypical as far as the scale is concerned. These were locomotives that actually did run for the Santa Fe Railroad. And they were built in the 1940s, late 1940s, and they ran for the Santa Fe up until the 1950s or 60s. And they pulled the trains like the Santa Fe Super Chief. So if you're not into trains, I would say go look up the Santa Fe Super Chief. That's another video for another time, just because we're talking about model trains right now. So the deal is, this is an old Athearn unit, and I put what's called a DCC chip in it, and I put sound in it, and I put lights in it. And when you do that, it looks like this. So that looks like a mess, doesn't it? And it, a little bit is. So this is a DCC chip right here, okay? And on this DCC chip, what you do is you put this in, and then you wire it up. And you can see here's my speaker back here, held on with some putty, because that was the best way that I could figure out how to do the speaker. And then here is power, that's positive. And then over here, you can see here's negative. The negative wire coming from the front truck here. And then there's a negative wire coming from the back truck here that comes in and connects right there. Okay? And then you have your motor leads. Here's your positive motor lead. And then you have your negative motor lead coming off the bottom here. It comes over here to a connection. The purple wires are for the speaker, and all these little wires are the lights. Now the lights are tiny little lights, okay? And they're covered in a little bit of putty, but I want you to see if you can see how tiny those lights are. Here they are right here, okay? That's how tiny those little lights are, okay? Here's my thermal comparison. Probably can't get the phone, well, can't get the phone to focus on. See how tiny those little lights are? So the little yellow ones are super bright little LEDs, and this one right here is a red one, okay? And these are the lights that you saw in the video of this locomotive running on the track, okay? And I've done this to a couple of locomotives. This one is one that I've done myself. This one is one that I've done myself. You've seen these in videos. There's a difference in these two, though. So this one was what's called DCC ready, okay, which means the motor's already isolated in here. It's not touching the frame, and all I really had to do was wire it up and put a DCC chip in it. Originally, it was ready to just take an 8-pin plug, which looks like this. That's an 8-pin plug. Okay, you can see the wires run to it, and they're soldered directly to the plug. Originally, I put an 8-pin plug into it, but part of the problem was it was too tall for the body, and it was causing the body to bulge right here, up out of the way. So I ended up just wiring it up directly. No, I'm not going to open this. It takes an exorbitant amount of time to get into that. However, so this locomotive here looked exactly like this on the inside, and I had to isolate the motor from the chassis, because originally the way this operated was you had your positive contact here, came to here, and I have an engine that's, let me see if I can find that engine real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the engine I'm thinking of. This is a Baldwin VO1000 undecorated. Eventually I'm going to put DCC in it. Just haven't gotten around to it, but I can open it up real quick and show you what it looks like before DCC. So this is an Athearn locomotive. Okay, so here's what this looks like. All right, it's got a little can motor right here. Okay, it is not isolated from the frame. So right here, the way this works, and when it sits down in there, this little piece here, this is the positive, and it goes over here and it touches this little piece that comes up from the truck, and it does the exact same thing over here. And then this little piece of metal here comes around and powers the light. This is straight DC, so if I put it on DCC track, it's gonna burn the motor up. And then underneath here, there's a piece that comes in contact with the bottom of the chassis through two little prongs that stick down on either side. Okay, and that's how that works. So you have to isolate the motor in these, which means you have to take the little prong on the bottom. I bring it up here. I take this long metal piece up here, take the little clip that's up here on the bottom, put a little piece of sticky tape, double-sided sticky tape on the underside of the chassis to isolate it from the motor from the chassis, and voila, I can start my old Athearn locomotives are DCC. So, which is what I did with this one, and what I did with this one. So that's basically what it is as far as DCC is concerned, or what the chip is in regards to the locomotive. There are various kinds of chips that you can get. I've got a friend who loves Loc Sound. That's all he goes with. I've got friends that love Tsunami, and I'm one of those people. Soundtracks. There are people out there that love Digitracks. There are people out there that love Wow Sound. There's all kinds. This one is a Loc Sound. Let's see if I can hold it up. This one is a Loc Sound. It has a speaker attached to it and everything. I had this one in a locomotive. It's my very first one that I installed, and it didn't really work for me. So I went to Tsunami, which I really liked, and that seemed to work. Here's an old one from somewhere, probably Digitracks. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is the fact that you can get locomotives from manufacturers that already have DCC in them. So this one, for instance, is made by Bachmann. It has DCC in it. It actually has Tsunami, or it's what they call an economy DCC, which is basically just, it has the sounds that are required for this locomotive. So this is a GP38-2 made for the Santa Fe Railroad. Back in the day, if you look on the bottom, you can see it says on board DCC, or DCC sound on board, basically. So, it's upside down, isn't it? DCC on board sound, okay? So I got this from one of the members of the train club for like $50. He didn't want it anymore. And to compliment it, I ordered, brand new in the box, this, GP40-0. I don't know, it's a GP40, okay? And you can see it says DCC sound value on board. So it's the sound value, but it's actually an economy, which is made by Tsunami, okay? So, that's what I can tell you about DCC. My friend Tim asked specifically about what program I was using, so I'm going to show you guys the program. That's next. Okay, so pardon my dust. Yes, I know it's messy. As you can see, I'm like I said, mad scientist. Alright, so here's the locomotive that we saw earlier in the video, at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to, I put it on the track. You hear it came on, okay? So let's go to the computer over here, and I will open the program that I use to do this. So it's JMRI up here, Decoder Pro. That's what's downloaded. I have what's known as a Sprog. Let's see if you can see it back there. There it is. See it back there? That's my Sprog. That's what controls the track. It's just Bachmann track. I wired this little Bachmann connector directly into the Sprog, and that's what makes it work. So, let's open this JMRI. JMRI. Okay. I'm going to pull it up. Alright, so here are all of the locomotives that I own, and when I can hit identify, so I just hit identify, and what it does is it starts down here. It'll say that it's reading CVs, okay, CV7, and then boom, it has identified the locomotive. So open it up. Here, you open up the program, and you can see that it has all the information. Santa Fe PA75A or 751. So in Santa Fe terms, there were 3 PAs. And let me pull this other one out. I'm gonna learn you something, okay? So this is an A unit because it had a cab in it, okay? This is a B unit because it has no cab. So this is 75A, okay? And this is 75B. And then there is a 75C, which is this locomotive here that I haven't finished quite yet. A quick note, I'm sitting here editing the video. I need to add something in. Alright. Back in the day, Santa Fe ran the Alco PAs on their railroad. And part of the problem was that the union, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, or whatever it was, wanted to consider each and every separate power unit, which would have been an A, a B, and a C, as one separate locomotive, thus requiring one crew per locomotive, because up until then, they could run steam engines, and you were required to have one crew per locomotive. If that had been the case, then Santa Fe would have had to have 3 crews per the 3 locomotives that were in it. So what the Santa Fe did to get around that was they designated 3 different power units, okay, that they lashed together, okay, as one locomotive. And the way they did that was by saying this unit is 75A, this unit is 75B, this unit is 75C, and together they make one locomotive, which is locomotive 75. And that's why 75A, 75B, and 75C exist. Just wanted to add that in there. And the reason Santa Fe did that was they wanted to designate the 3 locomotives separately, but they wanted to run them all as one locomotive. So they said 75A and 75B are one locomotive when they're put together. So, and this was early on in the 1940s when these locomotives came out, 75A, 75B, 75C. This locomotive is 75A because it's the lead locomotive in my setup. And it's 75B because it's the second locomotive. On the bottom, I have written the numbers. So 71, because you cannot put 75A into the DCC system. You can only use numbers. So, there's your little lesson there. And that's why it says 75A. So it's identified it at this point, and it allows for you to go in and change things. So if you look, you can go in and change the motor. I can give it, you can see 751. I can decide whether or not it's going to run on digital only or what. Here's some changes I can make. I don't know everything on it. Here's the acceleration rate, which the acceleration rate is basically just how fast it speeds up, how fast it slows down. And then basic speed control, speed table, function map. You can set up the lights to do what you want. That was how I set up the lights to do the gyro light and everything. Analog controls, consist controls. I do have it consisted. And we can talk about that in a later video. Sound. You can change the sound. You can see it has a couple different engine sounds. The PAs had the Alco 244. You have a number of different whistles that you can put in it. The PAs have the A200. You can change your bell. You can do other stuff. You can adjust sound levels in here. You can see that the sound levels are set right now. I have changed them. I need to go through that. Here's your CV list. This is what all of your CV values are. Which that's a video for another time. Here's your equalizer. 7-band equalizer. I have no idea what that does. ACS, ASC, legacy function, and ID. On the lights, I did have another friend ask me questions. You can see that you can change the light. So PAs had a pile gyro light, but you can do a Mars light. You can just do on and off. You can do an oscillating headlight. You can do a single flash strobe, double flash strobe. Western D312 rotary beacon. A prime stratolight, type 1 ditch light, type 2 ditch light, Fred, engine exhaust flicker, firebox flicker, smart firebox flicker, dyno light, auto dim for, holy crap, there's a ton of these, emergency gyro light, Ashburn flicker, and single flash strobe. They had a pile gyro light, so we're going to leave it as that. Okay, so, the next thing you can do is you can go over here to actions and hit new throttle, okay, and it will pop up a throttle. And this is how this works. So when I'm taking video of the engine moving back and forth on the track, I, with the other hand, this hand here, my left hand, I'm using this throttle. So if I hit on, let's see, on, you can hear the engine start, okay? So we're going to go in here. I'm going to pick the consist number. It's on 75. I'm going to hit set. And you hear it, the air kick on, okay? So we're going to so we'll ring the bell, okay, and then F2 is the longhorn, F3 is the shorthorn, F4 is nothing, F5 is the engine idle up. I'll turn the bell off. F6 is engine idle down. Let's see. I have this problem with these economies. They keep shutting themselves off. Okay, F7 is... I don't remember. I think that's full throttle. F8 is mute. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to push this back here. If you guys could see it while I'm actually doing this. Okay, so F8 is mute. F9... I need to pull the list out. And all these all come with a list of what each one does. So, let me get this list out here. I can read this while I'm doing this. Okay, so F9 is grade crossing. Okay, there's no F10. F11 is brake squeal. If it has that, it probably has to be moving when it does it. So you can hear it release the brakes. Okay. There's no F12. F14 is a switching motor. I don't know what that is. F23. You hit this button here, and then F23 does. Okay, did you hear that? Do it again. Yeah, there's you hit that button, it says all aboard. So, got a fly rolling right here. And then F24 through 27 are just extra functions. But F24 is where I have the gyro light. So if I hit F24, you can see the gyro light comes on. Okay? And then you have the regular headlight that comes on. You see it there. And then if you put it into reverse, the reverse headlight comes on, which I just wired straight up to the front. And that turns on the red light. So, and that is how all of that works. And then if I just push the, if I scroll up with my mouse to make it go forward, you see it goes forward. And if I go reverse, it goes reverse. And that's pretty much it. So, okay, so that is your lesson today as far as model railroading is concerned. Again, I made this video because a couple of friends of mine were asking some questions that I felt was better to try to answer in a video versus trying to answer, typing it out online. So, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Trucks in the shop. If you're watching this because of trucks and everything, my truck is in the shop. It had an ABS light that was on again. That is an automatic shutdown if you get pulled into a if you get pulled in and inspected. So I don't want to take that opportunity or chance that I'm going to end up getting pulled in and inspected and losing the ability to run or suffering a penalty for being late on a load or something like that. So, truck's in the shop. We are waiting for it to come out of the shop. While we're doing that, we're doing other things at home. So, pretty much playing with trains and just trying to bide my time until it's time to go back out on the road. So, anyway, I'm gonna try to put this locomotive back together. Got it. and I gotta run some errands today. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching as always. And you know the drill. Keep shining side up. See you down the road.
The platform has something called DCC on board, which is a regular decoder and top half the picture down the DCC. And it has said that when you guys on the game line, oh, that's pretty much everything top line. It's over here.